Great. So, good morning and Salamat Pagi to everyone. I'm Himanshi from Product Marketing at Exotel. And on behalf of our whole team, thank you for taking the time to be here today. Before we dive in, I'd like to introduce you to something that we all are really excited about our educational webinar series called Amplify. This series brings together leading minds to discuss the trends, challenges, also the innovations that are shaping the customer experience, especially in Southeast Asia. Through Amplify, we'll share real use cases, product walkthroughs, and expert insights that can drive real results for your business. So I hope you take away great insights from this session and will join us in the upcoming webinars as well. Today, we are starting the first session with AI-led conversation analysis. And mind you, we are talking about analysis and not just audits. And I'm thrilled to be joined by two fantastic speakers who are on the panel today with us. Park Sarvanan, who is the CEO of VADS Indonesia. He is a seasoned BPO leader with deep experience in driving operational excellence. Over the years, he has led large-scale operations for global clients and has worked closely with leading telcos. Let me tell you, he has a knack for bringing technology and customer experience together in an impactful way. Thank you, Sarvanan, for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me, Iman.
Our pleasure. And on the other hand, we have Yashwanti, Exotel's in-house solution consultant and GenAI evangelist. She's helping top enterprises leverage AI to scale quality across voice, chat, and messaging. And she has worked with the clients across industries, especially with BFSI, retail, and telco. So before we start with the session, let me quickly walk you through the agenda that we have for today. We are going to talk about the current market landscape, how manual audit is doing so far, why there is a shift for GenAI, and then we'll have some thoughts from our guest speaker. We'll have a product walkthrough. We'll take up your questions, and then we'll actually show you how you can hop onto the dashboard and try it for yourself. So let me track back to the Southeast Asia market. Yash and all the speakers here will agree that especially in the markets like Indonesia, Cambodia, and Philippines, the shift is even more pronounced because these markets have always been mobile first, digitally evolving, and deeply customer centric. But as businesses scale and customer volumes grow, keeping pace with modern expectation can become tricky. In high stakes industries, especially like BFSI, where fraud, compliance, and customer experience are tightly linked, this challenge becomes even more critical. I mean, just look at the numbers. 42% of Singaporeans and 32% of Indonesians have experienced one or the other form of financial fraud. Now, when you are required to analyze massive volumes of customer conversations to uncover pain points, can traditional manual audit practice really deliver those insights? Because let me tell you one thing, poor visibility into customer conversation makes it harder to detect these patterns early. Maybe it's time for a smarter, tech driven approach to uncover these insights. And that's exactly what we are here to explore today. So let's dive in. Uh, so we are going to start with this current landscape. Before I bring in our speakers to talk, let's catch a glimpse of what our audience think. So I'm going to put up a poll in front of your screens right now. There's a question that you'll see in a pop-up, and you can answer to it by selecting an option which you feel is most appropriate. So let me start the poll. Yeah, I hope you can see the question in front of your screen. You can just click on the option to select your answer. And let me tell you, there is no right or wrong answer here. This will totally depend on the function you are leading or the processes that you are managing. Yash, I'm particularly interested about this specific question because this will decide whether manual audits are actually doing justice to current customer and business conversations or not. Yeah, so people are answering. Come on, put in your answers here. We have about 5, 6 seconds more, and then we'll close this particular question. I am seeing interesting results here, by the way. Okay, so while our audience is answering, I'll bring up a point here and I'll ask you a question later on this. Uh, Market is rapidly evolving and there is enormous data pool. I mean, most contact centers today are operating with partial visibility. And as you can see, the research that we have done says so. Supervisors in the APAC region are only able to review just 1 to 3% of interactions manually. I mean, that's barely scratching the surface. Now, let me bring up the results of the poll and then I'll come up with a question for you. Can you see the poll results? Yeah, that's interesting. So, Yash, I would like to hear from you. You have been interacting with customers across countries, and with these poll results, do you think these traditional audits are capable of catching patterns or coaching agents meaningfully or mitigating risk?
Yeah, am I audible? So Himanshu and I are in the same room. Yes. Okay, so I hope I'm audible, and it's amazing to see a lot of people turn up early in the morning. Thank you for joining, everybody. Good morning to one all. So okay, so Himanshi, before we answer your question, right? The poll result is actually interesting. I didn't expect 52% of people to say all of the above for this, so which means the market is well aware of all the challenges that we are facing because of manual audits. So this is obvious, and even globally businesses are actively wanting to address these concerns because these manual audits have been reactive, they've been time consuming, and heavily dependent on subjective interpretation. For example, let's assume I'm a QA person. The way how I will look at certain call recordings or conversation transcripts will largely differ from how each of you would look at it if you were a QA, right? So there is no uniformity at all. And businesses are striving to bring this uniformity by giving the QA teams some direction, some guidelines to perform these audits. And yet the results are actually uneven. So if you look at all of these options that's given in the poll, it is more or less because of this uneven, not having enough uniformity to perform these processes, right?
Sorry to interrupt you, Yash, but I have a question here. This actually makes me think if it is the reason why identifying customer behavior patterns becomes difficult with manual audits.
See, great that you actually brought that up. There's something that market is slowly realizing, and as they adopt technology to perform these tasks, they are able to understand that patterns are the most important thing that can give them real business insights. So let me ask you a question, and I think this is an open question to the audience as well. You can comment your answers in the chat box. Are you aware of the most underutilized yet highly reliable data set that every business already has? Have you ever thought of it? You have a rich data with you, but that's not really utilized. Do you know what it is? If you know, you can please answer in the chat box. And Himanshi, this is a question to you as well.
So you have put me in a spot here. I would like to hear from the audience, but if I have to take a guess, I would probably say CRM data or customer data repository.
Okay.
Please tell me I am right.
Oh, wow. So I can see answers. Hey, by the way, is there an echo? No, I think you kept on mute. Okay. So Andrew has answered saying it's our own voice records, CRM, voice recording. Hafiz has given the same answer. We'll give a couple of seconds for it. All right. Okay. See, the thing is, yes, you're bang on. So it's your own customer data, it's your own customer conversations. That can be voice recordings, call recordings, that can be your chat transcripts, that can be whatever response they give to business via your for various functions, right? That is something that can give you the real wants and needs of the customer. What are they looking for? What is wrong? What is right? What's working? All of these actually come out of this data. This data gives you the authentic needs, their concerns, their sentiments. And in fact, in our conversations with CX folks across countries, like specifically the APAC market, be it Indonesia, be it Cambodia, or Philippines for that matter, one thing is very clear. Our manual audit process tends to overlook the full potential of this data because it is not able to recognize patterns, it's not able to assess customer sentiments. There is limitations with sample size, only a certain number of headcount you can have to perform these manual audits. It's not able to extract overall insights at all. Whereas on the other hand, with the aid of GenAI, you can actually achieve scale and consistency. Now just imagine this. Imagine each business has a specific tailor-made assistant that can help you with this clear insights out of data. The value addition is immense. It is surreal. In fact, this is no longer an imagination, to be honest. GenAI is making that real impact. It's uncovering hidden gaps. It's bringing you the agent behavior patterns. And it is even giving you business critical insights like when will a customer churn? Is there a potential churn or is there a potential escalation? Is there a non-complaints? All of these are insights that a GenAI tool can actually bring out. And this is not just quality control, it is business intelligence.
Amazing. So, if I have to summarize what you just said, quality analysis is not just about operational insights like tracking agent performance, compliance, or risk management, but it is more to do with extracting insights from customer engagement, and it could be across functions. It could be customer service, sales, marketing, all of these. So, it's a culmination of that. Okay, so another thing that popped up in what you just said, can you tell us more on how GenAI powers this scale with consistency? But before that, what I would actually want you to do is for our audience, tell the difference between GenAI and how is it different from traditional AI that is going around in the market right now.
Sure. So these are two questions that you asked for, right? So one is about scale and consistency, and the other thing is about how GenAI is different from traditional AI. That is actually a lot to cover, but I'll try and stay crisp in the call. See, artificial intelligence has been around for a longer period of time, right? And GenAI is actually a subset of artificial intelligence. It's a subset of AI. Whereas in artificial intelligence, all the applications related to generic traditional AI is rule based. It is based on memorization as well as in what has happened in the past. It stores everything and processes that data. Whereas Gen AI is more about predictability. So Gen AI is generative AI, which means it will generate, it will create, it will produce, it will predict. So it can not only understand what is happening in a conversation in a very human-like form, but it can also respond in a human, similar to how human beings interact, right? And these responses can be over text, can be as images, can be as videos, can be as audio, any format that you want, and how human beings interact in day-to-day life, right? So that is the key difference between a traditional AI and Gen AI. And Gen AI is actually a subset of traditional AI, right? In fact, if you look at the power of Gen AI, I'll tell you how Gen AI works. What is Gen AI and how it works? What are the different things that it needs? So Gen AI is like your human brain, like how you have. If we all know how neurology, how neurons help in your brain to process different information, synthesize, answer, think about it, and apply something, right? Similarly, Gen AI has certain components. One is its core architecture would be neural networks, and there are few deep learning architectures. So both of these help in passing information to an imaginary brain, which kinds of processes it and gives you the outcome. But only the ability to think is not enough, right? You need some data that needs to be fed in for it to take references, learn itself, train itself, and then give you that outcome. So that is where you have AI models coming in place. I think most of us are now, anybody who's following tech or anybody who wants to adopt a GenAI solution is aware of something called as an LLM, a large language model. But that is not just the only model that's there in the market. There are so many models, each of them doing different things. For example, there is something called as a GAN. GAN is your generative adversarial network. So what this does is it helps you in creating images and videos. All the social media AI related videos that we see, featuring celebrities, featuring imaginary people, all of these is an outcome of this model. Likewise, there are models which can combine multiple mediums like text, image, audio, video. It's called a multimodal model. And engines like DAL-E as a part of, this is a very popular image generation engine that's there based on our text inputs, etc. So these engines are these multimodal outputs. And the other thing is an LLM, which is a large language model, which helps GenAI engine understand what happens in a conversation or what happens when you go and send a prompt in one of these GPTs or in Gemini or in any LLM models that you have. You can have human-like conversations, ask your questions, and it responds back in a similar construct and in any language that is there in the world, right? So this is powered by this LLM. And so now, if you look at how GenAI acquires this knowledge, one is through these models, and the other thing is the vastly publicly available data that is there across the web. So GenAI learns through these information, processes it, and the most important part is it predicts. Now, when you go and ask an open-ended question to an LLM engine, uh, like how do I calculate my bank loan interest? How do I create a recipe? How do I create a presentation for probably for this webinar or any board presentation? Oh, there is echo. Is it? Sorry. Himanshu, thank you for raising that, Doran. I hope it's clear now. So that is the thing. So when you go and ask such open-ended questions, it in fact predicts that this would be your next question. Logically, this is how the conversation would flow. So that prediction comes as an outcome of all of those that you see in the screen, the neural networks, the deep learning architecture. Sorry, if you don't mind, can we park these questions to the end of the session so that I'll be able to answer these, Andrew, if you don't mind. But yeah, I'll come to the LLMs for
Yes,
Cambodian languages as well.
let them write the questions in the chat. We can take it up later on.
Works. Sure. Sorry. Yeah, you can. Yeah, that also works. So, so that's what I said. So this generative AI is actually it is a combination of all of these things that you see in the screen. So this is how GenAI works. But if you can,
I have a question here. So if I understood it correctly,
Mhm.
GenAI is not just powered through LLMs. LLM is one of the models on which generative AI is trained. Okay, so I hope that clears a lot of confusion among our audience as well. But as you said, if LLMs are such predictive models, then how are they used for these conversational analysis? And also, I'll get back to my previous question about scaling and consistency part.
Great. See, that's exactly the thing. This is something that I've seen in all my customer conversations. Somewhere LLM is perceived as GenAI, but as I said, that's just one of the models. But what is changing because of GenAI coming into these or GenAI powered conversational audits is how are we able to fill the gap? See, now there for businesses, there are just two things, right? One is they're able to only cover a certain percentage. We saw it in all the previous slides. A certain percentage is only being able to cover for audits. Whereas the other thing is the kind of insights that ideally business needs. And there is a huge gap in between. So what GenAI can do is it can cover this gap. It can process 100% of all the calls, all the text, all the tickets, all the chats. So it can cover 100% of conversations and give you the insights. So this is what we mean as scale. The second part is consistency. Now, because it's a single engine that is actually performing the entire analysis, so you can see an uniformity in all the outcome that you get, even if you do multiple analysis over a period of time. You can see that GenAI trains itself on all of these analysis that you do. It consumes that data as well and starts triggering its predictive model. So that thereby you will achieve a good consistency, right? And in fact, one common question that I see with customers when I talk to them about this 100% data is, I've seen a lot of them ask me, is it really important to process the 100% data? Because businesses will obviously have junk data as well. But how will you arrive at it? How will you determine which one is junk and which is useful for the business? At least for that, initially, you might want to go through the entire data, and eventually you can start creating subsets. And the insights that can come out of this data is a lot more than you actually realize, right? And see, each customer conversation, when you look at it, has different sentiments, has a different expression of satisfaction, frustration, or they might expect a faster query resolution. And all of these impacts your brand value. That is pretty much why businesses would ideally first want to get into this audit itself. It's to save and improve their brand value, brand perception amongst their customers. And the next thing that businesses might want to know is, what are the key products in which customers are interested? What are the product features that businesses can actually improve? How are their agents even performing in calls? Are they demonstrating the right empathy? Are they able to answer the right? Are they able to answer right to customer questions? Are they able to handle objections effectively? Are they being compliant when they talk on customer calls? Are they reacting or responding to what a customer asks? So all of these are something that you will only get when you process the entire data set that you have. Likewise, you also need to give feedbacks to your agents, right? And training agents has become one of the most cumbersome thing to do in our current market scenario because of a lot of churn in contact center agents. So you may want to give them regular, consistent, constructive feedback. And that should be something that can self-serve rather than somebody coming on a call and training them and giving them at least for most part of this feedback should be self-sufficient or self-explanatory. They should be able to consume it themselves without being reliant on somebody else. Now, this system, when it is through GenAI, it is able to give you all of these insights, which you can consume and see how it helps your business, right? And one important thing apart from all of these, as I said, again, I'm re-emphasizing, is the critical insights. Imagine now, imagine your system, this GenAI tool that we have. Imagine that flagging a set of calls saying these customers are going to potentially escalate. These customers are going to, they are going to they're probably going to churn. Or let's say you're running a campaign, a marketing campaign, and you're wanting to measure the effectiveness of that campaign. So how do you evaluate all of those calls only related to that campaign and see what's the outcome that you've got? So all of these are possible. That's the power of GenAI. So you're not just reacting to what customers say, whereas you're anticipating what your customers could say and how you can make it into a business opportunity. Yeah.
Great. So it's like AI is helping us find those nuggets of information, those valuable pieces that will link the complete customer experience. But we all are right now underutilizing it. So if AI is used correctly, it will lead to better conversations, stronger agent performance, higher customer satisfaction, and overall powerful business insights. Is that correct?
Bang on. So the possibilities are endless. That's all that I'm going to say. GenAI has this edge and the possibilities are endless. Yeah.
Thanks, Yash. That provides quite a comprehensive overview of GenAI. Right now, I have a question for our audience to answer. So you will see the next question on your screen now. Again, you can select any option that resonates the most with you. If you look at all the options, bits and pieces of all of these are relevant to some or the other functions, right? So if we are looking at a holistic growth of a business, all of these options would somewhere or the other make sense to different organizations, different functions within the organization. Yes, we have some answers. In next 5 to 6 seconds, we'll close this poll. So if you have not answered already, make sure you select the option. I think everyone has submitted. I'll end the poll now. And let me share the results with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this again proves that people identify that if you want to scale your business, if you want to build customer experiences, you cannot just focus on one area and neglect the other. It has to be holistic growth, and customer satisfaction, agent performance, compliance, all of that somewhere or the other will add on to that scale and consistency. Okay. So moving on to the next section. For this part, I would like to bring on board Sravnan so that we can have some key insights from him as well. Sravnan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Iman. Can you hear me, Iman?
We can't hear you.
There's a webinar on.
I can see the responses that can hear me. I can hear you, Iman.
Can you?
Everyone is saying that they can hear my voice.
Yeah,
Can you hear me? Yeah?
now you're audible.
Okay.
So I'll start with the first question. Since you have a lot of experience in contact center, you
Yeah.
have dealt with a lot of enterprises.
Mhm.
How essential or critical do you think is auditing customer conversations?
Iman, by hearing and also seeing the response that coming from all the Breaker members just now, I guess this is, I'm not going to say much by telling that it's actually absolutely critical, yeah, in a contact center environment. But I'm just going to position it. I mean, this is not only a control function. Quality is not just a control function, but it is actually a strategic enabler. Allow me to explain a bit more by giving three important points. Yeah. Number one, actually on the customer experience and brand consistency. Now, today, it's actually, whether today or I think before, we know that every interaction that happening in the customer's environment, yeah, is actually reflecting to the customer's brand. And by us doing the periodic auditing of the conversation, we are actually ensuring that agents are delivering consistent, accurate, and also empathetic service. Now, if I bring to the second point with regards to compliance and risk mitigation, yeah. Now, if you look at the industries like, finance, healthcare, or e-commerce, contact center deal with sensitive information and specific regulatory requirements. And we can't deny more. I mean, by auditing the conversation, it helps to ensure that agents are following the required scripts. And the third one, which I think Yash also has actually explained just now with regards to the training and coaching, yeah, because all this information that we are getting, where does it go into? We are actually making sure that we are feeding back to our quality, the knowledge management team. We are actually passing it back to our trainers, yeah, and we are ensuring that continuous coaching is being done. But the missing part here, which I think we have actually explained a lot just now, in terms of the volume of interaction that we are doing the periodic auditing, which is it varies from 1% to 5%, which is very, very small. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Ravi. That makes a lot of sense. And I'm sure Yash will also agree with you on that part.
Yeah, so this obviously makes a lot of sense because it clearly covers whatever we've been discussing, right? So that's it. Simran, I also have a question. Uh, the, in your opinion, what are the areas of improvement for manual audits?
Area of improvement, right? If you look at today,
Mhm.
the problem that we are facing today is actually in terms of the volume that currently coming into the center. Now, first, I would see from in terms of the huge challenge in terms of the volume that coming in. As I mentioned that the audit that we are doing today, only 1 or 2%, perhaps, 2 to 5%, yeah, because when the volume is terribly small, the decision that we are making could be biased. Yeah, because with a tiny sample that we are doing, we could easily miss patterns of both good and bad. And second, I will take it from the inconsistency of even from our quality agents' perspective. Because when the QA analysts analyze, it differs from one to another. Maybe today my mood is good, I will do it correctly. If my mood is not good, I might do it differently. Yeah. So this is an area that I feel that two big areas that need to be addressed in the current context.
Amazing. Correct. So yeah, so this also again I think emphasizes on the uniformity part that we just spoke. It is something that we can't even control, right? It keeps correct. I mean, yeah, I think I totally agree with what you said. Right. So
So,
Himanshu, yeah.
yeah, we have talked about how manual quality analysis or quality analysis in general helps businesses. But if we look at the other side, that is of customers, how their experience can be enhanced using this.
Um, if you look at the manual audits that are being done, right, I believe that it is very conventional. And at the same time, what exactly is happening here? Mind my word, I'm using it as the term of post-mortem. The reason of me using this speaker post-mortem, we understand very well how exactly quality assurance activity actually is being done or quality audit actually being done today. It is actually reactive. At the same time, we also have in terms of that being mentioned with regards to the sampling coverage, because the amount of sampling that we are doing is very small. Second, I mentioned about the consistency. Third, I talk about the resource of optimization that we need quite a number of QAs if we were to do a bigger size of sampling. I think that the important part, which I believe that which we are missing big time, it is actually on the business inside, where I believe that Yash mentioned just now about business intelligence, yeah, which is, I believe that at a point of time, we need to ask ourselves, the amount of data that we are capturing, the amount of analysis that we are doing, does that give a right results? And I think today there's still a lot of conversation that happening today in terms of how this particular business insights can support the particular client's business better. And this is where that I'm seeing that the topic that we bring today, with regards to how GenAI is transforming conversations and insight, will actually really help us to go beyond than the normal practice of how it's being done all this a while.
I really like that post-mortem analogy that you used.
Yeah, I mean that quickly caught my attention also the moment you did
Right.
that.
Now, because when I use that word of postmortem, people who actually already long in QA might agree, might disagree, might be very offensive. But that's why I put a disclaimer there. I mean, please don't take me wrong. But if yeah, because when we have been continuously doing this for quite some time, this is what exactly is happening. And I think in terms of the process of coaching, process of the updating, and it is all delays. Yeah, delays. We do not want that delay to really hamper or disturbs our business moving forward. Yeah.
True. In fact, very, very well said, Saranand. In fact, when I visit contact centers, so as a part of building this product, we do a lot of ground research. We go visit contact centers, we go visit different units that work to bring customer experience together. And after a point, it's all very frustrating. After a point, it's like they've given up. They're like, what more can we do? This gets
Yeah.
too much of it gets extremely laborious. It's all resource heavy. It's like a lot of things to do, and still they don't see a concrete result. So,
Correct.
so true, so true. That said, since you touched upon insights, just wanted to ask you this question. I've got a little curious, and I think our audience have also gotten enough curious. I see a lot of engagement in the chat. But given an automated conversation analysis tool like the one that we have, that can help you with any kind of insights, dashboards you need, what would be your top 3 or top 5 things that you would want to immediately solve?
Okay. Again, Yash, when I deal with the clients, getting the feedback from the clients, all those, right? One big thing that I always crack my head is actually the conversation that I'm having with the client in terms of what exactly behind these bigger numbers. Sometimes what exactly is happening here, we say that our QA score actually is high, but it doesn't correlate with the particular NPS results or the particular CSAT results, yeah?
True.
And this is something that I continuously challenge myself, my team. How can we ensure that this is actually being done in a more appropriate manner moving forward? And definitely, I mean, easy way out, we need to add on people, Mr. Salah. We need to add more people because we need more people to do all this big analysis. And yes, the sampling size that we are doing is just very small. Now, coming back to your question, top 3 or top 5 things that I would like to really look at is actually number 1, with regards to a bigger sampling size that I can do, yeah, in terms of driving or finding in terms of the top dissatisfaction that coming from the client. 2, I will also look in terms of, in terms of the coaching and training that we need to do for our members, yeah, because when a center of, 50 head count, when we have centers like 2,000 head counts, this particular information has to come in fast. And we don't have time to really go into the breaker mode of just sampling of 1 or 2%. Yeah. And another important part that I think at this particular point of time that we really need to give the breaker value, is there an opportunity for us to do upsell or cross-sell opportunity by seeing the signal of customers' behavior. Yeah. And all these actually, if we go on the old or traditional way, yeah, we're going to get the information, but by the time we get the information, then when we start sharing with our client, it's too late.
It's too late. Yes, it's
Yeah,
too late. Yes.
correct. And I think the last one actually in terms of executive dashboard, yeah, I think this is again, we all of us actually have been well trained on Excel spreadsheet, and today of course, a bit of upgrade on that is the Power BI. Yeah. But when we present to executive, when we present to the management of our client, they're asking for more and more and more. And if we were to do all this manually or the traditional way, it takes a lot of time. So these are my area of focus that I'm hoping, yeah, from this breaker session and from Exotel could actually make my life to be much easier. Yes.
Awesome. So I'll quickly reiterate. So you were talking about bigger sampling size, which can identify your top dissatisfaction across customers, damage control. How do you do a larger sample within a small time and see if you can get those insights and action on it before the insights are actually dead, before
That's
it is expired, right?
That's right.
I think I'm following on the same postmortem thing, but cross-sell and upsell opportunities. And here
Yeah.
again, before it gets too late, how are we going to capitalize on them? And dashboards specifically as to how you can have actionable insights, but in a format that you can consume. Rather than working and breaking your head around the data, how can you get readily available insights out of the call conversations that has happened, right?
And yes, one thing that I can guarantee that everybody will agree with me. Information is actually the new oil that we really need to preserve and make sure that we can make full use of it. Yeah.
Very true.
Uh, yeah.
Right.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Himanshu.
We can explore the other side of the coin as well. I mean, we have looked at the priorities, but how about the red flags that someone who is doing quality analysis, they should look out for and try to identify?
I guess from the perspective of dealing with different types of nature of business, yeah. I think compliance or info security breaches. I am seeing that more and more actually happening because when we deal with different line of businesses, e-commerce, yeah, healthcare, yeah, um, uh, things that when agents does the wrong disclosure, sharing personal data, yeah, And all this actually becoming a pain point that needs to be addressed. And sometimes I do not know, maybe it's actually because of the kind of generation that we are dealing with. Some actually very careful, some are not. Because of that, we need to have these better tools to assist us in terms of capturing this information fast and creating a situation where we can actually do the necessary coaching correction in a fast manner. Yeah. Number two, actually, in terms of poor customer sentiment, we need to pick this up fast because we know today in the era that we are in today, social media is actually getting us a bit of out of control. Whenever customers is not happy, they are not going to call you and say, I'm not happy with your service. But what they do is immediately go to the social media. So this is where we say, okay, let me listen to your call. Let me check what exactly had taken place. This is too late. We need a tool that can come in fast in terms of capturing all this bigger information and give that bigger information to the maybe the operations head or maybe the quality team and immediately act on it. Yeah. And I think that the third one would be in terms of if there's actually to identify inappropriate mannerism from our workforce. It can come from the agent perspective or customers' behavior, because these are the information that we need to capture quickly and provide feedback to our internal team and also our client. Yeah. I think these are the areas that I believe that needs to be quickly looked at, in terms of the concern that you have raised earlier, Yash.
I think we've been asking a lot of questions. We're really very, very happy to hear all of these from you, Saronan. And I think one last question that I have, since you come from, I mean, you have a rich experience in the contact center background. How do you want this tool to help you in handling attrition rate in contact centers? Because this is something, again, this is also from the ground feedback that people are finding it very hard to handle this attrition. What do you want? What would you need this to give you?
I mean, people who are actually in this particular industry will really understand. I mean, if you're actually on the road, you're scared of police. If you're actually in a contact center, we are worried about the QA. So, so, so I would actually would like to see, I mean, how gamification in the quality environment. Yeah, I mean, gamify the QA metrics perhaps. Yeah. Instead of just looking at scores, we can turn QA feedback into a fun, interactive experience. Yeah. So maybe we can give recognition and rewards. So let's make QA function to be more friendly, more acceptable. Yeah. And we also can create healthy competition among the particular teams. Yeah, because we have team leaders that, I mean, when we start sharing with our client says that, okay, you have a problem here. Then we bring it back to our team and we start explaining. And then how we want to create this, actually, we create a competition among the team leaders, because we know that today we have a ratio of 1 to 15 or 1 to 17. Some even have 1 to 20. So with this kind of competition, we actually driving the team themselves by equipping them with all the speaker information that they need on maybe daily basis, by, I mean, every 2 days or by I mean, end of the day. Yeah. So that they know what they need to do with their particular team the next day. So these are the things that I feel that able to address the attrition that happening in the contact center environment by creating an environment that will be liked by them, but by not just making them to be scared of this because QA team that we're going to have in the contact center environment. Yash.
Amazing. Amazing. Gamification is something that I think will really help solve this problem. We've also been thinking on these lines, but thank you so much for all of these insights, Saravan. I think now we'll quickly jump into the tool. And Himanshi, I think because I think in the interest of time, we'll quickly show you a glimpse of the tool. And there is a small video for the dashboard that we have. So I think I'll just get into that stage now, and then we'll again discuss post we demonstrate the tool, Saravanan, about your thoughts, and and we'll also have an FAQ segment. Yeah.
Yash, before you start with the product glimpse, we have a quick question for the audience. I would like to share that question with our audience, and then we can start with the product walkthrough.
Sure. Yeah, works.
Can you see the question?
I can't.
Himanshi, not yet.
Okay. No problem, Yash. You can start with the
Yeah.
product walkthrough. We'll get back to the question later on.
Sure, sure. Okay. So, Himanshi, can you take over the screen sharing?
Do you want to share the screen?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, just let me know if it is visible, the entire screen.
Yes, yes.
Yes?
Yes, it is.
Great. Okay. Okay. So, people, this is the tool that we've been talking about. Because we have just 10 minutes, I'll take a couple of minutes to quickly skim you through this tool. And I think this might get extended by 5-10 minutes just to answer for FAQ. So if you can stay back for 5-10 minutes, that would be great. But we're so sorry we're requesting you it at the last minute. But yeah, anyways, I'll quickly get into the tool. So this is our conversation quality tool. This is what Exotel has built. So what this tool does is you will be able to upload your conversations. It could be of either format. It could be of text or it could be of voice. You can upload your conversations in your own language. I did see a lot of FAQs. I did see a lot of questions from audience.
Yash,
Sorry?
Yash, there are some comments in the chat box saying we can't see the screen. Can
Okay,
you check the screen sharing?
sure. Just a second. Are you able to see now? Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Okay, so I'll start. So this is the CQA tool that we're talking about. This is the conversation quality tool that we're talking about, right? And I did see a lot of questions on chat asking about your regional languages, like do we have LLMs for Cambodian language? Can this handle multiple dialects? Can this, give us the accurate insights? And for all of that, we'll probably respond in the FAQ section when we talk, right? So this tool, to give you a quick answer, yes, you can upload recordings or transcripts in any language, and the tool is capable of understanding your language conversations and give you insights in English. Everything will be in English, but the processing of the input can be in any language, right? That's point one. And then what you can do in this tool is you can create quality profiles. So I'll tell you what quality profiles are. These are basically the questions that you want to ask or the insights that you want to ask this tool about the recordings or conversations that you have actually uploaded. Now, let's say you have uploaded a set of recordings, or there are two ways to do it. One is to manually upload, one is to integrate with your backend system. It can be your contact centers, it can be your CRMs, it can be your ticketing tools. You can integrate this tool with any of your existing communication stack. Once you do that, you'll go and create a KPI list. So a KPI list is a key performance indicator, right? Whatever you're wanting to assess. Now, let's say once you have the purpose for which you're running this analysis, you can now start designing your own KPI. Your KPIs can be as simple as, did the customer mention his name, or did the agent introduce himself and greet the customer during the start of the call? Was there, if you have a script, like an opening script, you can put that script in here and ask whether was this script followed. You can have a set of categories. Let's say in a customer service use case, you have customers calling in inbound calls to your contact center for different purposes. And I think one of you had rightly asked a question saying, in CRM, all of these are getting tagged. Now, why do you want to assess this? See, now, it can even be wrong tagging, or it can be something more than your preset categories. If you're wanting AI to identify these categories and bucketize it accordingly, you can use this categorized KPI, where you can ask AI to identify the purpose of this call. Or if you have preset buckets, you can also mention those buckets, like did a customer call for grievance? Did they call for some app maintenance or app not working? Did they call for something like failed transactions, something like loss of money, something like reporting fraud transactions? So you can actually define n number of purposes. There is no limit. Either you can define or you can let AI take a call itself. So it will create categories and start bucketizing the calls into that. So you use this categories KPIs for it. Yes, no is like, did the agent sound polite? Was the customer frustrated during the call? What was the emotion of the customer? What was the mood of the customer? For all of that, you can put an yes, no KPI. Likewise, there is also a rating KPI where you can put a scale between 0 to 1, 0 to 10, 0 to 5, 0 to 100. You can give a scale and ask, rate the overall calls efficiency. Did you identify any uh, did you identify any heated argument? If yes, rate the mood of the call, rate the agent's clarity, rate the conciseness of the call, rate the responsiveness of the call. All of that comes in rating KPI. Now, once you create these KPIs, you can save it under a profile. The reason why you save it is you use it for all your further analysis. You can tweak them over a period of time. You can make edits to that. You can create multiple quality profiles for different teams, and all of that is possible in the tool. And these KPIs are usually simple questions that you can ask in English, and the tool will be able to understand and relate your data with that. The second thing that's most powerful in this tool is the first quality profile. It gives you answers, more of binary answer, like yes, no. It gives you a rating, it gives you a category. But within the call, if you're wanting to extract some information, like, did the agent ask for customer sensitive information, and did the agent answer for it? Did the customer specifically mention a product about which he or she had a query? Did customers show interest on any of your products? Let's say you're running a campaign and you're wanting to understand, like 4 or 5 products are there in your campaign. You're wanting to understand which product was the customer interested in. You can create that as data extraction questions. So from your call, from your conversation, from your chats, you can extract different fragments of the call, which will make sense to your business insights, right? So these are the two main profiles with which you can actually get a lot of answers to what's happening in your business, right? And then once you create these two profiles, you have an option to create an analysis where you will upload your recordings, or you can integrate it as a periodic analysis. And I'll show you the integration as well. You can integrate it with your backend hyperscaler bucket, which could be either your any of your cloud storage, could be an S3 bucket, could be an Azure blob, or could be an Oracle bucket. You can have your data sit in one of these buckets, or Exotel itself has its own different services related to customer conversations, like a contact center or a cloud-based contact center. So you can integrate with any of these and get your conversations flowing into the system automatically. Once that is done, you will set up the analysis, you will set up the period, as in the frequency in which you want to do the analysis. And we were also talking about the validity of the data, right? You might want to do it by end of day. You might want to do it for every 1 hour. You might even want to do it every minute, maybe for certain crucial helplines related to SOS, helplines related to reporting any sensitive information, fraud transactions. For that, you can even set your analysis like every minute, every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. You can set any interval, is what we're saying. So you will create an analysis, you will choose your quality profile, and then you'll choose your data extractor profile. And you will also choose whether it is an audio or text analysis. In fact, from the backend, when you use our APIs, you can do a mix of both as well. The next thing, important thing, is the team. So now let's say you have different teams for different function. One team to completely handle sales, one team to completely handle customer support, one team to completely handle grievance, and you're wanting to do a team-wise analysis. You can configure those teams here in the dashboard, and based on the calls with flows along with your agent ID or agent name, agent phone number, you will be able to get team-wise analysis results as well. So this is how you do, this is the tool with which you can configure all of these and run the analysis. The other part of this tool is how do you represent these results, the dashboard that we were talking about. So for that, Himanshi, I'll stop sharing. You can go back to the presentation and play the dashboard video.
Sure, Yash. I'll share my screen.
Analysis of the number of calls analyzed, the duration of conversations, and the adherence of our agents to standard operating procedures, SOPs. We offer extensive filters to evaluate these parameters based on various criteria, customizable as per the needs of supervisors. In this demonstration,
we can
we
just
have
pause for
analyzed
a
over
moment.
18,000.
So before we start with the video, I'll set the context. Now, the reports, the outcomes that you get out of that tool is directly fed into another part of our solution, which is the dashboard. So this dashboard will be able to look at all the different KPIs that you have already set in your quality profile or data extractors. I mean, these are basically the questions that you have asked your own data, right? And these are depicted in different forms of charts, graphs, and in fact, it has some tagging related to, agent disputes. Where has the agent gone wrong? Where is it right? And your agent can even come and validate that. So I'll get to that part once after you see the dashboard. And Himanshi, now you can start playing.
Recordings. The overview showcases the total number of recordings, the overall KPI score, and the average conversation duration in seconds. Additionally, it displays the number of recordings that achieved a score greater than 0.9, which we consider as a passing score. Scores range from 0 to 1. An agent who adheres to all the SOPs in initiating and concluding the communication receives a score of 1, while those who miss some receive a score of 0. Now let's delve into the KPIs. In the opening segment, parameters such as welcome and branding, building rapport, and value CST are evaluated. Each of these parameters includes specific criteria, such as initiating the call within 5 seconds and using a pre-agreed greeting. The communication and closing segments also have their own set of parameters and descriptions, each contributing 25%, 50%, and 25% to the score respectively. Returning to the dashboard, the overall KPI score, which is greater than 0.9, is a cumulative score of the opening, communication, and closing sections. The conversation details over time can provide insights into when the longest call duration occurred, the number of calls made, and the agents who analyzed them. Over time, you can also monitor the average score. Interestingly, you can observe intent and vibe analysis, such as professionalism and empathy, in most of the agents with 3.1 EK recordings. The primary intent of the customers is related to support issues. One unique feature of this dashboard is that when you select a category, the entire dashboard adjusts to reflect the chosen category. For instance, if you select support intent, the dashboard will show related calls, vibe, and call duration. The vibe analysis indicates a predominantly professional tone. The call duration for support is displayed, with Agent Ahmed Banat handling the most support calls. His average opening and closing communication scores are also shown. By clicking back, you can remove this filter, making the dashboard revert to its original state. Next, we can observe the average performance overview, sorted by KPI score. 4 agents have performed exceptionally well, scoring either 0.99 or 1. Mariam Bassan, with 127 calls, is the highest performer. Additionally, you can view the failed calls and the agents who were unable to handle them effectively. We also provide AI-generated call notes to assist in understanding why the call was unsuccessful. You have the option to download each of these sections directly. For instance, many find the communication tab vital and need to converse with specific agents. You can effortlessly search and download the required information in CSV, Excel, or image format. Furthermore, you can search among these recordings for a particular name. For instance, let's consider the case of Miss Imam. This brings us to a fascinating dashboard. We urge you to delve into it further. Please try our CQA today. Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of things that before we get into QA and the poll, Himanshi, a couple of things that I want to add is this dashboard is completely customizable. This can have the gamification elements that we just spoke about. This can have different graphs and charts which can help you visualize your business insights the way how you want to do it. And in fact, your agents can have their own logins to log into this dashboard where they'll not see anybody else's data. They can log in and they can daily have a check of how they have performed in their calls yesterday, how they have performed, what are the areas that they need to improve, and they can try and improvise in today's call. Over a period of time, this can also give you a consolidated output of how have you improved. Let's say I, as an agent, when I start initially, the first week or the first day, my empathy was low, but then after my empathy has improved. So it can show you a graph over time. It can show you how the communication has improved. It can give you a lot of parameters for self-improvement. And in fact, tomorrow, let's say you want to attach resources to it and make your agents get trained in certain modules, even that is possible. Likewise, there is another important thing that I wanted to cover. Each business comes with its own background, its own very specific to business kind of things like their product lines. It can be something related to FAQs. It can be things like, your whole database, which you might want your agent to be trained. And probably you would have even run a couple of training sessions for your agents. But have they really imbibed the knowledge? If you want to check that, the tool can even do that. You can make the tool crawl your entire uh, website or any of the documents that you have that can be fed into the knowledge base. And the tool will evaluate your agent's performance based on that. This is what we pretty much call as three major insights: strategic insights, operational insights, and process insights. Operational insights are something where it's about your day-to-day agent performance, agent evaluations. Process insights are, let's say you have an SOP that your agent needs to follow. And if you want the tool to clearly check stepwise if the agent has followed these SOPs, where have they lagged? Where have they really excelled? You can even get that tracked. And strategic insights, like now you don't even have to roll out a survey to your customer asking how satisfied were you with the call, how would you promote the brand. None of that would be required anymore, because since the whole call has been analyzed, you will be able to understand what was your customer satisfaction score. You will be able to understand whether this customer will promote your brand or not. So all of these are auto generated, and that can be generated periodically in whatever frequency that you need. And another important thing that happens in this tool is context. That is, let's say when you do a sales call, usually it doesn't get completed in a single call, right? That happens over multiple calls and multiple chats, emails, texts, all of that. Where is the context? Across these conversation, you might want to figure out a context. You might want to understand where was the customer's interest peaked and where did it actually dip down over a series of conversation. So this tool can actually give you that context-based insights as well, so that you get a complete understanding and not just the fragment of that particular call. So these are the key things that we do in Exotel. These are the USPs of the product. But no matter how much we explain, you may want to have a flavor of the product and maybe talk in detail about your use cases. I think Himanshi has something for you regarding that. We will walk you through what it is once after maybe we get into the Q&A session.
We have already passed 10 minutes
Yeah.
almost. There's a question in the chat box, Yash. I would want you to answer that. And meanwhile, I'll open the poll so that audience can answer the question. And if they have their own questions, they can drop it in the chat.
Sure. So
So there is a question. Will this tool overcome contextual judgment? Example, some samples technically pass the system, but will it detect minor detail like ambiguous double meaning words or voice tone, etc.?
It can, 100% it can. This is also an important use case, right? Like whether it can detect profane words, can it detect sarcasm, can it detect, genuine empathy towards the call? All of this is actually possible. All of this is possible. In fact, um, if you can feed a set of words that your business, let's say that is the process that you said, you don't want anybody in your business to talk those words, even that can be fed into the system and we can flag it. We'll be able to flag that. Yeah.
Okay, people are still answering the question. But if you have any other question, feel free to drop it in the chat, or you can reach out to us later on as well. We are always available to help you. Now, since we are running short on time, I'll move on to how and what to do next. And before that, I'll show the result of the poll.
Yeah, Himansh, before that, there were a couple of important questions, and I also wanted to want Saravanan to comment on how did he find the tool. So maybe we'll get into that, answer a couple of questions, and get to this. So to Saravanan, please. So your thoughts.
I think, I mean, based on what we have been discussing and also in terms of the asks that I actually put in, yeah, there are many things that actually already being covered in the solution that coming from Exotel. The only thing that I have two questions I would like to ask here.
Yes.
Yeah, the first one actually in terms of with the automated QA becoming more common, yeah, I think this is just something that we cannot run away. How do you strike the right balance between tech-driven analysis and human judgment? That would be my first question. Second is actually in terms of when we talk about quality assurance activity, right, we also talk about the accuracy rate. I would like to see and hear from you in terms of the transcriptions as well as evaluation. How exactly that you look into the matters of accuracy when this is actually being implemented? These are my two questions.
Awesome. So I will start with the first one because this is also a common question across people. AI, all of these automated solutions is to aid human processes and not to replace. Not to replace. I also saw a question on chat where saying AI agents. No, this is not an AI agent. These are still human conversations carried by human agents. Maybe you might also have bots and voice bots and different bot agents talking to for the generic part of it and then bring in human touch. But in general, this solution will go through all of that, but still needs manual intervention, will need humans to probably manage what is happening. Go through these results and probably form actionable insights. Like your QA people, now for the same 3%, 4% of data that we do, you might have about, let's say, 8 to 10 QA people, they will still continue to be there because now instead of 3 to 4%, we're doing 100% data audits. And whatever insights come out of it, you might need these people to capture them, convert them into business action items and see what needs to be done. So human decision making is really important to make the best use of whatever this AI automation tool can help, right? That's point one. Second thing, from an accuracy standpoint, as I said, this is a self-training model. This trains on the data that comes into processing. So the accuracy is set to improve over a period of time. But that said, again, this accuracy is split into two. One is language accuracy. The other thing is accuracy of the answers that it gives to the questions that you ask, right? So for the language accuracy, there are different LLMs coming up for specific regions. Like for Indian region, there is an LLM that's coming up that's powered by Ola. Likewise, for, I think somebody had asked about Khmer, Cambodian languages, and do we have an LLM that can work with better accuracy? So there are few LLMs that is in, for example, if you look at BERT is trying and specializing in APAC languages, specifically Khmer. There are also news articles about it. And there are Gemini is really picking up in all global languages, including dialects. Somebody had also mentioned there are 100 dialects that's there in each region. How will the tool actually learn? How will the tool be able to interpret? So this accuracy will also evolve over a period of time. With our sample set that we have, in fact, we had prepared something in Bahasa language today, but in the interest of time, we were not able to show. The accuracy that we get for the first instance of a set of Bahasa calls is somewhere around 91%. And a month back, we were seeing 89%. Now, with the recent analysis that we did, we were able to see 91.3%. So this accuracy keeps improving. And with dialects, with more and more LLMs coming up, it covers all the global languages. So the best way to see how it works is to try out the tool directly and see what is the accuracy that we get for your calls. Likewise, the tweaks for the answers, for the questions that you ask and the answers that come. Accuracy for that part, it majorly depends on prompt engineering. It majorly depends on how clear is your question, how is it not ambiguous, how is it not too wordy or too short, how is it hitting the right spot. So for that also, you will have to have ask multiple questions and keep tweaking your questions to until you get that desired output. So one thing is the LLM's accuracy for language, where a lot of LLMs are coming up for specifically APAC region. And the other thing is your prompt engineering. How do you frame your questions? For which the team will help. We'll sit and work with you on framing these questions so that you can get the right accuracy out of it. Does that answer your question, Sarvan?
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Any other questions in the chat that needs to be answered?
There are two more questions. How this QA AI can capture on digital channel and RMS channel.
So I need some, what do you mean by RMS channel is something that I want to understand. And Andrew, it's not BERT, it's BERT, B-E-R-T. I can share articles where, sorry, it's B-E-R-T, BERT. I'll just share it in the chat. I can share articles where they've recently published accuracy rates for Khmer. And we can also try it out. So now at Exotel, we don't stick to one LLM, right? So we have built something which can pick and choose the right LLM based on the incoming use case that you set and the language that you set. So it's not just directly accessing an LLM, because there's one major part that we didn't cover, which is the InfoSec and compliance. I wanted to deliberately park it so that we can have, when we have one-on-one discussions, we can discuss more around it. But Exotel has built an extremely secure network, an secure layer, I would say, which will help in pick and choosing the right LLMs and the right ASRs. There is something called as an ASR as well, to answer or to cater to your business needs. So this is also another part, and that is where Exotel's thing comes into picture. Does it? Okay, thanks. Yeah. For RMS, I'm not able to understand what do you mean by RMS. Is it rich media messages that you mean?
Yes, they mean rich media channel. And while you are answering that question, I'll open the last poll,
Yes.
which is whether our participants are interested in a free trial, in a demo of the product, so that we can share the necessary details with them later on.
Sure. So for digital channel and RMS channel, it all depends on how are you integrating. Now again, RMS channel, as long as all the inputs are either texts or audio calls or images, image is something that we're getting onto, we should be able to assess the outcomes, the question that you ask, and get you the relevant outcomes. So we can try and explore on that in case if you can connect with us, and we can see how to take that up.
Right. That being said, we don't want you to take our word for that. We want you to go on the Exotel dashboard, try it for yourself, explore what it can do for your business and for your customer experience. So after this webinar is done, we'll share an email with login details where you can upload your sample data and see how AI is turning your conversation into strategies. So you can try it after the webinar. We'll stay tuned. We'll send out an email with the details so that you can try out the dashboard and add your team to that. Participants are still answering the question whether they are interested in Exotel's AQM. 44% are saying yes, definitely. I don't think we have any other questions, so I guess in the interest of time, we can wrap this up.
Sure.
Thank you, Sarvanan, and thank you, Yashwanti, for sharing the insights. I'm sure the audience is going away with valuable information today. And I am hopeful that they will be joining us in the upcoming webinars as well, where we will explore more products. We'll see what else is going on in the industry and how real growth, holistic growth can be driven using AI and other communication solutions. Thank you so much once again. And thank you all the participants.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining and for patiently waiting. So I think after the session, we'll also send out the deck along with a form for you to sign up for the free access of the tool where you can try and test, and the team will get in touch with you. So looking forward to see you all soon again. And thanks a lot, Saran, for joining.
No worries. Take care. Bye.
Bye.